Good morning, Unity of Sun Lakes. Is everybody with me today?
Absolutely.
Most of us are with us here. It's going to be a beautiful day. We're going to have a nice short service and a nice short board meeting to get in today. So it's going to be an exciting and event-filled day. So, I'm Dennis Hubert.
You read fast.
Oh yes, please remember to turn off your cell phones. We do have a tendency to forget to do that because we're people. People. Oh, mine's off, I should make sure. It is, yay, okay, good for me. Now I have to open it up so I can remember what's going on. So I'm a licensed Unity teacher. I've been coming to this church about 10 months now. It's a beautiful place to be. Unity is, I'd say it's a lifesaver if I knew that we didn't need to be saved. I think we just think we need to be saved. But it's sure a life changer because it teaches us how to take responsibility for our lives. To take our thoughts create things. That's what Unity teaches. And so that can go both ways. So sometimes if we learn to do it skillfully, we can create the wonderful things we want and not create the things we don't want. It's a trick. All right, then we're all magicians, so I think we're going to get it. Okay. Now we have a song by the JaJas. I don't know if you know these guys, but I kind of like them.
Please sing along with us. I wrote this song while hiking on South Mountain one morning. And my steps. Oh, what a beautiful day it is. Oh, what a beautiful day. Oh, what a beautiful day it is. Oh, what a beautiful day. Oh, what a beautiful day it is.
We'd like to thank Diana Perez for the lovely flowers today. It's a mom and some babies and other beautiful flowers. All right, so first we want to welcome visitors. Do we have any first-time visitors today? If you're bold enough to raise your hand. If not, we understand. Sometimes people are shy. Okay, well, let's all welcome each other today with our welcoming statement.
We love you, we bless you, and we welcome you.
All right, and next is opening prayer with Julia Norton. After that, Maria Blanding will do the daily word.
Good morning. Good morning. Last Sunday of February. Let's close our eyes and open our hearts. We know that the love, the truth is within us. The Almighty is here. This is our temple. This is where we pray, within our hearts. And this week we let go. The Lenten week is we let go. Let go of whatever we don't need anymore, whatever doesn't serve us. And we bring in more love and light. And we go forth this week and we share that love and light. And we give it to even people that we don't understand. We may be angry with, we release that angry and let it go. And we look forward to our annual meeting today and know that everything will take place in divine order. Thank you, Mother, Father God, for this beautiful day and the lovely rain. And so it is.
So it is.
Very interesting, Julia. But the daily word today is let go and let God. It's a wonderful thing, and it's one of my favorite sayings. I love to use let go and let God. So I bravely release outworn behaviors and embrace my bright, brilliant future. Holding on to what no longer serves me because it is familiar and I've grown accustomed to it, may stall my growth. I evolve much more quickly when I trust my guidance and release old patterns and behaviors. In my heart, I know that when I move away from a dysfunctional relationship, a negative attitude or unhealthy way of living, I move towards something greater: peace, safety, harmony, freedom, and fulfillment. I let go of anxiety and fear and open myself to happiness and security. I breathe in freedom. My heart becomes buoyant and my steps lighter. I set my intention today to release anything I have been fearful of letting go of, so that I can confidently move forward, open to infinite good. And from Matthew 18:18, truly I tell you, whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven.
Thank you, Reverend Maria. And we have another song by the JaJas.
This is our story, Barb and I. We met a long, long time ago, over 20 years ago, and well, we'll let the song tell the story. If you would mind starting it over there, please. Thank you.
little prayer, as I'd done each day for a half a year. I pray you'll guide me to a church where I can serve in song. And by the way, I could really use a friend.
That day you took the chair beside me, I didn't have a clue of the power and the grace of God. And in those hours as we shared our lives, our friendship came to be. By the way, I said, will you sing at church with me?
I can see myself in you, beautiful and whole. I can see myself in you, as we share and as we grow. I can see myself in you, each and every time we sing, sharing the mountains and the valleys of all that life will bring. I can see myself in you. We were best friends from the start, one in spirit, one in heart.
And through the years we've shared adventures and our songs,
down canyon trails, through forest streams, from the mountains to the seas, and through the spiritual peaks and valleys all along. I can see myself in you, beautiful and whole. I can see myself in you, as we share and as we grow. I can see myself in you, each and every time we sing, sharing the mountains and the valleys of all that life will bring. I can see myself in you. Until now I didn't realize the sweetness of God's grace. For when I prayed, where can I serve in song, God showed me your sweet face. You have helped me realize it's not a church at all. It's the house of God within you, within me, within us all. I can see myself in you, beautiful and whole. I can see myself as we share and as we grow. I can see myself in you, each and every time we sing, sharing the mountains and the valleys of all that life will bring. I can see myself in you. I can see myself in you. I can see myself. I can see myself in you.
Okay, it is my pleasure and privilege to talk about the Unity 5-step prayer process. This is one of my passions. Some of you may know. All right, I'm going to hold that mic. So this is from unity.org. I just typed in Unity 5-step prayer process and it's going to be right here. So I'm just going to read it if you guys don't mind. Affirmative prayer is empowering prayer. It begins with our recognition of the all-pervading, universal power that many call God. In prayer, we shift our attention away from human circumstances and focus on our spiritual nature, our oneness with the infinite. So with that in mind, here is the 5-step prayer process. So first is relaxation. Relaxation, we breathe deeply and focus within, become willing to know a truth that frees you from all concerns. The how-to there is take a deep breath, deep conscious breath as you relax your body, relax your busy thoughts, feel your heart opening up. Next is concentration. Concentration, recognize the power of God as life, wisdom, and ever-present good. The how-to on that is just to center your thoughts on the ever-present energy of God in your life. You may want to inhale, God is, exhale, I am. Third is meditation. So know that you have the power to be, to do, to have, and to allow the good you desire. It says, feel a click. That's the how-to. Feel a click as everything falls into place. And you know that all is well. Regardless of the outer circumstances, it is done. And then, of course, appreciation. We're always grateful, but we want to be grateful before it happens. Now I'm going extemporaneous, so I'm going to go right to here again. Be grateful for your growing spiritual awareness. You are empowered to live fully now and in a fulfilling future. So the how-to there is empower your life with every expression of gratitude. Good stuff. I agree with it. I think we're going to have Reverend Jeanne come up next. You're right. Reverend Jeanne's going to give us the talk.
Where do you want this mic, Reverend
So in January, we explored being big as God. And this month, we've gone deeper and deeper into what it means for us individually and what it will take for us to step into that bigger, more expanded expression of the divine that our heart is calling us to be. And we have discovered that there is one quality of human existence that can either open us up to our divine greatness or it can close us off from it. And that one quality, that if we embrace it and live from it, the fullness of the divine can express through us unencumbered. If we embrace this quality and live from it, we are free. Free to share our gifts, to sing our songs, to speak our truths, to dance our dance, to do our comedy, to be and do that which we came here to be and do. But that same quality, if not embraced and not lived from, will keep us small, keep us in a tiny little box, living a very reduced, constricted, restricted version of ourselves, never able to be big as God, expressing as God in our lives. This quality has been identified through scientific research done by Brene Brown of TED fame and spoken in her latest, one of her books called Daring Greatly. And so what is that quality? Vulnerability, yes. The willingness to be vulnerable. In fact, daring greatly to be scared but do it anyway. Not know how, but try anyway? Feel self-conscious, but we show up anyway? Not have a clue of the outcome, but we take a risk anyway? Be afraid of getting hurt, but opening up your heart anyway? And feeling naked, but being authentic and real anyway? We've looked at this all month, and you've had the assignment to go out and be vulnerable. Even if it meant just barely dipping your toe into it. Yes. How many of you have had quite a tumultuous month? How about being very alive and vulnerable, naked and afraid, but then experiencing magic on the other side of it? Oh, there's silence. What about the magic? Yay! So today we take our last exploration into this topic by peeling away one more piece of vulnerability. We're calling it vulnerability armor, as Brene Brown calls it. It's things we do so that we don't feel vulnerable. Before we peel away this pretty sturdy and heavy piece of armor, I want to make a side note and an interesting observation. Every single person that Brown studied in her years of research on this topic, every single person, without exception, spoke of struggling to one degree or another with vulnerability. So I want us all to realize that if this is an issue with you, if this is hard for you, you're not alone. Vulnerability is hard for all of us. Okay, maybe there's a small percentage of people that grew up being able to just speak without being told children should be seen, not heard. Maybe there's a small percentage of alphas that are out there that can speak their mind no matter where they are. But for the rest of us, it's hard for all of us. It's not just you who has reservations or hesitations or fear. Or shall we even say terror around opening up and putting yourself out there. It's part of our human experience. It's by design. The form of shielding that we're going to look at this morning is what Brown refers to as a common vulnerability arsenal. Because she found that we all incorporate it into our personal armor in some way. Once we explore this shield a bit, then we're going to look at daring greatly, a daring greatly strategy that has proved to be effective at disarming it. Our piece of heavy armor to peel away today is the armor of perfectionism. Or believing that doing everything perfectly means that you'll never feel shame. But here's the truth. Perfectionism is not the path that leads us to our gifts or to our sense of purpose. Rather, it's the hazardous detour. Because we can sometimes get confused between our spiritual idea that we are perfect and whole and the concept of perfectionism. I really appreciated the description of what perfectionism is and what it is and what it is not that Brown's research brought forward. Here's the definition of perfectionism that bubbled up as a result of that research. Well, actually, first, let's talk about what it is not. It is not the same thing as striving for excellence. It is not about healthy achievement and growth. Rather, perfectionism is a defense move. It's the belief that if we do things perfectly and we look perfect, we can minimize or avoid pain or blame, judgment, and shame. Brown says that perfectionism is a 20-ton shield that we lug around, thinking it's going to protect us, when in fact, it's the thing that's really preventing us from being seen. Perfectionism is not self-improvement. Perfectionism is at its core about trying to earn approval. Most perfectionists grew up being praised for achievement and performance. Oh, you got good grades. How about if you have really good manners, we're going to love you. When you smile, boy, you better smile. I mean, when you perform, you better smile. Many people wonder, why do I smile? Why are you always smiling? You're so positive. I grew up being told to smile when you're in front of people. It's just a natural thing for me. I was bred that way. And somewhere along the line, we adopted this dangerous, debilitating belief system. I am what I accomplish and how well I accomplish it. Therefore, I must perform perfectly. Healthy striving is self-focused. How can I improve? Perfectionism is other-focused. What are they going to think of me? Perfectionism is not the key to success. In fact, research shows that perfectionism hampers achievement. Perfectionism is correlated with depression, anxiety, addiction, life paralysis, or missed opportunities. The fear of failing, making mistakes, not meeting people's expectations, and being criticized keeps us small. Like we're living in a tiny little box, living a reduced, constricted, restricted version of ourselves, never being able to be big as God. Lastly, perfectionism is not a way to avoid shame. Perfectionism is a form of shame. That's why when you're around a perfectionist, it just doesn't feel right. We feel each other's energy. And we struggle with shame. Daring greatly, she said, appreciating the beauty of the cracks. To gain freedom from perfectionism, we have to make the long journey from what will people think to I'm enough. And appreciate the beauty of the cracks. Remembering what Charles Fillmore said in Talks on Truth, all of God's creations are perfect if you will stand aside and let His Spirit shine. You will see that you are perfect in every part. This idea is illustrated in one of my favorite stories. A water bearer in India had 2 large pots, each hung on an end of a pole which he carried across his neck. One of the pots had a crack in it, and while the other pot was perfect and always delivered a full portion of water at the end of the long walk from the stream to to the master's house. The cracked pot always arrived only half full. For 2 years this went on daily, with the bearer delivering only 1.5 pots of water in his master's house. Of course, the perfect pot was proud of its accomplishments. Full pot, every time. But the poor cracked pot was ashamed of its own imperfection and miserable that it was able to accomplish only half of what it had been made to do. After 2 years of what it perceived to be a bitter failure, it spoke to the water bearer one day by the stream. I'm ashamed of myself and not worthy to be carried on your shoulders. And I want to apologize to you for that. What are you ashamed of? Asked the bearer. I have been able for these past 2 years to deliver only half my load because this crack in my side causes water to leak out all the way back to your master's house. Because of my flaws, you have to do all this work and you don't get full value from your efforts, the pot said. The water bearer had compassion for the old cracked pot. And he said, as we return to the master's house, I want you to notice the beautiful flowers along the way. Indeed, as they went up the hill toward the house, the old cracked pot took notice of the sun warming those beautiful flowers on the side of the path. And this cheered it some. But at the end of the trail, it still felt bad because it had leaked out half its load. And so again, the pot apologized to the bearer for its failure. The bearer said to the pot, did you notice that there were flowers only on your side of the path, but not on the other pot's side? That's because I've always known about your crack, and I took advantage of it. I planted flower seeds on your side of the path. And every day while we walked back from the stream, you've watered them. For 2 years I've been able to pick these beautiful flowers to decorate my master's table. Without your being just the way you are, he would not have this beauty to grace his house. Without your being just the way you are, he would not have this beauty to grace his house. And I thank you for who you are. In the words of Leonard Cohen's song Anthem, there's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. And I'd like to add, that's how the light gets out. Speaking of light, I've asked a volunteer to come forward to demonstrate, to bring home this whole month's lesson on vulnerability, a little example of being vulnerable. So, she has walked into a building, and there was light, but the light has suddenly gone out, and she cannot see.
What on earth?
Oh, sorry. Oh my God.
Do you need help?
Yes.
Do you?
I can't see.
Well, you're not alone.
What?
I can help.
Yes.
Look, I
You
have
help
a
me?
light.
Oh
I
my
can
God.
help you.
What's it?
It's a light. You can see the way.
Oh my God. I can see.
You can see. You're not alone. And you were born perfect already. You're welcome. You can keep the light.
Let's give him a hand. Just like in relationship.
So scary.
She was struggling. She couldn't see where she was going. until she asked for help. And someone came along and gave her what she needed, help. In relationship, when you are struggling with that person that you love, that you have something to say, if you choose not to ask, if you choose not to share your side of the story, you will be over here stuck in challenge, and you will be in the dark. You will be right. You get to be right. But you don't get to have love. You don't get to have magic until you are vulnerable, willing to speak your truth to that other person who deserves your love, who deserves that respect between you because you have a loving relationship. So when you share your challenge, the other person gets the opportunity to either walk away or they have an opportunity to be in commitment of love to you and tell their side of the story. Now, you don't just have your story. You have the rest of the story. You have the whole story. And so, my friends, we bring our exploration of daring greatly to be vulnerable to a close this morning by peeling off the armor of perfectionism so that we can be crazy, knock your socks off, out of this world, big as God. That big expression of God. And having a desire to be that for God is not just planted in our individual hearts, but it is planted in this church, Unity Church of Sun Lakes. And so I am inviting you to be vulnerable for your church over the next few weeks by inviting people to come. You could go out on a limb and invite coworkers, friends, family, waitresses, grocery clerks, or your favorite barista. Be vulnerable. God bless you.
Thank you, Reverend Jeannie. That was amazing. All right, we have an affirmation. I'm going to say it, and then you guys say it with me. I dare greatly to be great, with strength and courage to be vulnerable. I live my life as big as God. And say it with me.
I dare greatly to be great, with strength and courage to be vulnerable. I live my life as big as God.
Amen. Thank you. All right, we're going to have an offering. It is the offering time. Let me keep this fly down my face. So Unity is supported by our gifts, by our offerings and our tithes, and we greatly appreciate it. But that's the way it's kind of meant to be. God says, you know, my house. You want to support where you're fed. And so that's what we do. We're very grateful for it. So Reverend Jeannie and Barbara are going to sing a song as the baskets are being fed. Oh, we have to say the prayer first. Let's say that prayer. So let's say it with me. Divine love as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. I am so blessed of you, God.
We're just going to all sing this song together a cappella. Next slide, please. We don't have music here. Oh, it's raining.
No.
Ready?
Wow, that's good. It is pouring.
And on that note, let's sing. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And now we're going to say our offering gratitude. We give thanks for these many blessings of today
I know they are but a symbol of the inexhaustible substance of the universe. I give thanks that 10 times this much or more is now on its way to me and quickly manifests in perfect ways.
Amen. Okay, we have one more. No, we have announcements. Someone like to take this, or I guess we can leave it there. Hopefully it'll stay up there. So our annual meeting is today, right after the service. So I think just a quick bathroom break, maybe, and then starting right away. Okay, Dennis, somebody, we don't know who that is, but he's teaching a prosperity class. I do want to encourage you to go to this prosperity class. If you think I can't afford the prosperity class, then it's probably the very thing for you. Like they say if you meditate 20 minutes a day. If you don't have time to meditate 40 minutes a day. So it's kind of the same thing in prosperity. If you want to give, you want to get, you got to give. And the way you get into the flow of getting is giving. And sometimes you got to give to yourself. So I encourage you. Right now there's 2 people, which I don't mind. It's a nice small class. We can talk about fun stuff, but we would encourage more people. So Reverend Jeannie and Barb and I would love to welcome you to sign up for this class. It starts this Tuesday. No pressure though. Okay. Prayer team meeting every Wednesday at 10 a.m. online. Reverend Julia hosts that. Thank you. Reiki share group every Tuesday at 9:30. Next week we're going to have Cerise Patron. Awesome. Love Hop. Right, the Yayas are going to sing a beautiful song.
Odie had an announcement?
Yeah. I just want to mention the sign up for our brunch on the second Sunday. Next Sunday will be the last time you can sign up for the second Sunday, okay? That's it.
Thank you. Let's all sing this song together, thinking of relationships. Everybody loves this song, I hope.
Gladly walk across the desert with no shoes upon my feet, to share with you the last bite of bread I had to eat. I would swim out to save you in your sea of broken dreams. When all your hopes are sinking, let me show you what love means. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time?
I would whisper love so loudly every heart would understand. Love, only love, can join the tribes of man. I would give my heart's desire so that you might see. First step is to realize that it all begins with you and me. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine.
The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. And wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Have a beautiful week. Don't go far if you want to stay for our annual meeting.